Who could that be at this time of night?
Good question. But Adelaide can handle it for now. I need to take my medicine.
You certainly have your priorities in order. Go on then. Get that bottle of rat piss out of your nightstand and let's get this over with.
Ugh, tastes like the devil's sweat.
You could just stop taking it, you know.
Bill, now is not the time to...
Miles, could you come back out here, please?
Be right there, dearest. Who was that at the door?
A late-night courier. You've got a message from Upton.
Seems this case is rather urgent. She wants me to meet her as soon as possible.
But didn't you just take your soporific? Are you going to be all right to go?
It won't kick in for another hour or so. Should be plenty of time.
All right, I'm going to bed then. Good luck, dear.
Good night, Addie.
Heard the Redites are planning a big attack on a bunch of factories.
Those idiots. I wish they'd stop with their nonsense.
You don't support them? I'm surprised, especially considering a machine took half your arm.
I don't believe in solving problems with violence. This city's got some real problems. When people pay more for an airship ticket than most workers earn in a year, something stinks. But the way to deal with that ain't by blowing up steam tech, that I can tell you.
I don't know how you do it. If I was you, I'd never get near any steam tech again, and wouldn't care a fig if it got blowed up.
Well, then it's a good thing you ain't me, isn't it?
It's getting pretty ugly between Atwood and Leroy. What do you think of it all?
Not sure. I'm none too pleased with Atwood, but this Leroy character doesn't seem much better.
Leroy is a man of the people, though. He's trying to expose the corruption of Atwood's parliament. You do know the real reason the bridge to the Chum has been delayed so many times, right?
I thought it was because they don't have the money.
That's exactly the type of lie Atwood is feeding everyone. It's really because they want to keep the chummies out of the rest of the city. Leroy said so himself. Not only that, Atwood's trying to bring in more automated workers.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're worried about keeping your job, I'd suggest voting for Leroy.
I'm not allowed to vote, remember?
Oh, right. Sorry.
Hello, Upton.
I'm glad you came, Fordham. Sorry for disturbing you this late.
I'm curious to know what's so important that it couldn't wait until morning.
An infant kidnapping in Lyon. The report came in tonight just before my shift ended. The family wants to keep the investigation very low-key. They're afraid if word gets out, they'll have all sorts of ne'er-do-wells making false ransom claims. That's why I suggested they let you investigate first. Head over to 45 Belcourt Street. That's the home of Malcolm and Miriam Harris, the parents of the kidnapped boy.
Harris? As in Harris Construction Company?
The very same. Owned by Malcolm's father, no less. Now you see why they wanted to keep this out of the public eye.
Indeed. If they manage to get a new transatlantic airship off the ground, it'll be an aura mine. I can see why they'd make an easy target. Don't worry, Upton. I'll get the kid back before you can say hot toddy.
Hot toddy. I think you're losing your touch, Fordham.
And I think you've lost your joke book. Try some new material for a change, would you?
Right. Good luck on your investigation. Come see me again once you figured things out. Or if you just need to talk. I'll be here all day tomorrow as well. So feel free to stop by.
Mr. Miles Fordham is here to see you, sir.
Very good, Mr. Havelock. Send him up.
Yes, sir.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Fordham. I'm Malcolm Harris.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about what's happened, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. You were very highly recommended by Miss Upton. She said you'd be able to solve this faster and more discreetly than the police. I admit it's a rather unorthodox approach, but we're desperate.
I understand. I'll do all I can to find the kidnapper and bring your son back unharmed.
If you'd like to examine the nursery, it's just through that door to the left. I'll ask you to please try and keep quiet as I just sent my wife to bed. Her nerves are rather shot, you see.
Yes, of course.
Look, you can see the balcony extends all the way around the side of the manor.
That would make it rather easy for someone to access this window from the outside.
No evidence of what was used to smash the glass, though. Be careful not to cut yourself, Miles. I don't think the Harris family has ever seen blood that isn't blue. Interesting. This fabric looks as though it came from a garment of some kind.
Huh. There's a small emblem sewn onto the side of this piece of fabric. It just says SS.
Somebody's initials, maybe?
Oh dear.
Ah, wonderful. The soporific has started working. Well done, Fordham. Now how are you supposed to... What's the word I'm looking for? Instigate? Interrogate? I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Perhaps it's time to call it a night.
Did you find anything?
Yes, I believe I have some leads I can pursue. But the most important thing to do in cases like this is wait to hear from the kidnappers. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue my investigation and ask you and your wife some questions once you've had time to calm down a bit. In the meantime, I suggest you stay here and get some sleep. We'll all need it.
Miles, wake up! It's nearly noon.
Ah, so it is.
Why didn't you come to bed when you got home last night?
It was late. I didn't want to disturb you.
So what was so urgent about the case Upton sent you?
I'm trying to track a kidnapped child.
Oh my goodness. That's awful.
Yes, the pressure's on, but I think I should be able to crack it.
Assuming you actually managed to get anything done at the Harris...
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to... Also, we've got company. Mrs. Delacroix is having her hair done here today, so please...
You mean I'm not already...
At least do something about your hair. I do have a reputation...
What's wrong with my hair?
Do you really want me to answer that? We'll be here all day.
And then he said, "Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've met."
Mrs. Delacroix, this is my husband, Miles. Miles, this is Mrs. Delacroix.
Pleasure to meet you, madam.
Likewise, young man. Pleasure.
Is everything all right, Mrs. Delacroix?
Oh, yes, everything's fine. It's just that... Well, you weren't what I was expecting, is all.
Keep your head, Miles. She may be a close-minded idiot, but she's just an old lady.
You mean the portrait over the fireplace didn't clue you in?
Now then, Mrs. Delacroix, what was it that you were telling me about Mr. Delacroix and his dogs?
Oh, yes. So, Harold came in and said...
Impressive. She got off pretty easy. I was expecting a repeat of the Parsons incident. You should give Adelaide a kiss on the way out, though, just to make the old bat feel extra uncomfortable.
Goodbye, dearest.
I look forward to your return, my love.
Remind me, Miles, how was finding some rich people's kidnapped baby going to help us track down the flower shop burglar?
It's possible we might find a lead to the burglar during the course of this investigation.
Really, Miles? You really believe that?
Anything's possible, Bill. You remember how many times we encountered seemingly trivial matters which turned out to be important?
Well, if you plan on solving this case, you'll need your full wits about you.
What are you implying?
I'm not implying. I'm flat out telling you. You need to stop taking that soporific. Adelaide has been trying to get you to stop for months, and Upton already suspects something is amiss. Not to mention your little episode last night. Trust me, no one is going to want to hire the duller detective.
Clever. Did you come up with that one all by yourself?
What are you going to do when the cases stop coming in? How?
If I do get locked away, it'll...
Which is exactly why you need to get back to your normal routines.
All right, fine. I'll stop. But you know that doesn't guarantee we'll find the burglar any sooner.
Yeah, I'm aware, but it increases the odds significantly. Well, I'm glad that's settled then. I knew you'd...
It's not as though you gave me much of a choice.
In time, you'll think. Probably not before the withdrawal hits.
Don't make me change my mind on this, Bill.
Mr. Fordham, you're back. Allow me to introduce my wife.
A pleasure, Mrs. Harris. I wish we could have met under better circumstances, but I assure you I'm doing...
Thank you.
Mr. Harris, has there been any communication from the kidnapper?
None at all.
Well, I'll have another look around, if you don't mind.
Miles, didn't you notice something a bit strange about the Harrises?
Quite a few things, actually. What are you referring to?
His son was just kidnapped, yet they're each on their own side of the sitting room. Not comforting each other, not crying together. Nothing.
They're stuck-up rich people. Not exactly the type to show emotion.
Miles, you know I'm the most cynical person there is when it comes to their... This goes deeper than saving... That's odd. Why is there a loose button in the crib? Now, I'm no expert on children, but it seems like it would be dangerous to have around an infant. If only the flower shop burglar was as easy to find as this clue was.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
Tell me everything you can about the kidnapping.
I don't know much. I was out last night while it happened.
Where had you been previously?
I was out with friends. My wife can verify...
Wait a minute. I know this attitude all too well. This man is hiding something. I doubt his voice is from beyond the grave, so the question...
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window.
Looks like it came from...
Did the initials SS mean anything to you?
You'll have to excuse me, Mr. Fordham. I've got quite a lot on my mind right now. If I can think of anything, I'll be sure to let you know.
Tell me about your son.
Charles is a good boy. Very quiet. Miriam had wanted a child. You know how women are when they have their hearts set.
Nice to know you're not the only one. Hey, Miles.
The first 2 times Miriam was with child, she suffered some unfortunate acts. So when Charles finally came along, I can't imagine what sort of depraved madman would...
I intend to, Mr. Tell me about...
There isn't much to tell, really. My life has been fairly well publicized.
Let's pretend for a moment that
Well, I'm an investor. My father Clyde runs Harris Construction Company, which any other details about me are fairly
I found this button in your son's crib. Does it look familiar at all?
No, not at all. Do you think the kidnap?
It's a distinct Those are all the questions I had.
All right.
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
Tell me what you know about your son's kidnapping.
Oh,
Mrs. Harris, I know this is difficult, but I need as much...
yes. It happened sometime. Both my husband and I had gone out. I arrived home first, around 8:30.
And what was it you...
Mrs. Davis, unconscious in edge. Malcolm arrived home shortly afterwards. We stayed up waiting for any contact.
Your husband mentioned he was out with friends last...
Oh, I was visiting.
It seems hiding something from your spouse is an activity.
What can you tell me about Mrs. Davis?
She's worked for us since Charles was born.
How did you come to employ her?
Malcolm's mother had a friend whose daughter... We've never had any problems with her.
Where is she now?
In her room, I would guess. With Charles missing.
Where might I find...
There's a small building just around the back of the manor. Hers is the fourth door from...
Can you think of any reason why your son would be a target for
It could be that someone wants our money. Or some lunatic who's... My husband's an investor. And my father-in-law, I just don't know, Mr. Fordham.
I found this bit of torn fabric.
No, I've never seen it before. Do you think it was left by...
Perhaps. Did the initials S...
No, I can't...
Tell me about your son.
Charles is our only child. He's such... Oh, Charles. You must... Oh, please,
I'll do my best. Tell me a bit about you.
Mr. Fordham, my son has been kidnapped and is out. What could I possibly tell you that would...
I suppose you're right, Mrs. Harris. I found this button in your son's crib.
No, I don't recognize it. Is that what the ruffian who took my...
That's what I'm trying to... That's all for now, Mrs. Harris.
Very well.
Who in their right mind would need that many drawers?
Let's see what we have here. A very poorly written letter addressed to Mr. Harris.
I don't suppose it's a letter of admiration.
On the contrary, the author seems quite...
It looks like a pile of women's clothes. Must belong to Mrs. Harris.
There's a handwritten note among the clothes.
Wardrobes are usually always full of wonderfully dark secrets. Mr. Harris's color selection is almost as drab as yours.
Let's see if there's anything of interest in any of the pockets.
So, Mr. Harris is a fan of the ponies, is he? I'm sure that's not causing him any trouble at all.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
I found this letter in your bedroom. What can you tell me about it?
You went through our things?
I'm a private investigator, Mr. Harris. It's part of my job.
Of all the insolence!
You're upset, I know, but do you want me to find your son or don't you?
Yes, that letter was sent to me by mistake. It was...
Have I ever mentioned how much I hate Rich?
Your father. Doesn't he own...
Yes, he's been receiving many letters just like that, but that Devons fellow in particular has...
How peculiar.
Not only that, he leads a daily protest in front of the construction... My...
See what?
Devons! He has a grudge against this I'd put money on him being involved with the kid...
I'll just have to speak with Mr. Harris,
What? How did you...
Listen, I'm trying to help you and your family. I can't...
Do you think we could discuss this somewhere more private?
I suppose we could.
Good. Let's move to the nursery then.
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
I found this note in your bedroom. What can you tell me about it?
What? You had no right to go through my things?
Mrs. Harris, I'm just trying to find your son. The sooner I know about any clues I might find, the faster I can proceed with my investigation.
Fine. I got that note last night from Roland.
Who is Roland?
Roland is a special friend.
I see.
Oh, don't you judge me, Mr. Fordham. You have no idea what my marriage has been like. Marrying Malcolm wasn't my idea, nor even his. The whole thing was orchestrated by our fathers. They thought merging the two families would be a good business arrangement.
Is your marriage an unhappy one, then?
It wasn't easy at first, and it didn't get any
So then...
Mr. Fordham, we are Besides, I had no legal then, somewhat
I'm sorry for you, Mrs. Harris,
Why?
That's for me to decide.
I don't know.
Can you tell me anything that...
Well, he's a musician. He plays the piano.
How about his last... I gather you don't...
I refuse to answer that.
It's a good thing I don't have a stomach anymore, because I can get...
That's all for now, Miss...
Very well.
Shall we continue our conversation, Mr. Harris?
Yes, of course.
Now that your wife is out of earshot, tell me about the kidnapping, and what these betting stubs have to do with it.
Right. As I said before, it had already happened when I got home. I had just come from spending the evening at the Meadows.
I see.
I promised her weeks ago that the last thing I wanted was to upset her further.
Can you think of anyone who might want to do you harm by taking...
Several, I'm afraid.
Go on.
I haven't exactly had the best of luck, Mr. Fordham. The truth is, I've gambled away most of... If she ever found out...
Where have I heard this before? You know, things would be so much easier.
I've tried doing business above board, but lately I've had...
What do you mean?
I was forced to visit it. The owner was a rather shady Sambo, but I figured he'd be easier to deal with.
Can you believe this guy? Maybe we should just leave the kid be. He'd probably be better...
Who was the owner?
Mr. LeFay. His business is an abattoir row in Chumley.
You think this Mr. LeFay may...
Let's just say there isn't much those.
How goes the construction of the new airship?
There have been some complications, but nothing...
Could you be a bit...
Well, I already told you about the... And we're blocked pending Royal Maverick's review of the same... Agitators and red tape, but really, Mr. Fordham, what the deuce does this have to do with finding Chop?
Yeah.
Those are all the questions I had.
All right. If you don't mind, Mr. Fordham, I'm going back to the living room. I don't want Miriam getting suspicious.
Hello, sir. Welcome to LeFay Lenders. I'm the owner, Chester LeFay. Are you looking to take out a loan?
Not today, I'm afraid. I'm Miles Fordham, a private...
Look, I don't know what you've heard, but I run...
And I'm not here to cause any.
Just keep your nose where it belongs. We should get along fine.
Mr. LeFay, I'd like to ask you some questions.
Fine, but keep it brief.
Tell me what you know about Malcolm Harris.
Ah, Mr. Harris. Took out a loan about a month. In fact, he sent along a letter yesterday, saying he was having I probably should have refused to do business with him.
What type is that?
Upper class, bored with his life, trying to escape and doing it through vice.
This guy is good. Maybe you can pursue...
But for some reason, I pitied him. Compassion isn't exactly an
Nothing to worry about.
Aside from that, I don't know anything about him. I prefer to keep how much I know about my client.
Are you aware that Malcolm's son, Charles, was kidnapped?
I had no idea he even had a son. As I said, I don't ask my clients to, though now you've told me, I suppose that would explain the
Exactly how much did Mr. Harris borrow from you?
Is that relevant to your...
It would help to have an idea of exactly how...
I don't feel comfortable telling you the exact amount.
A considerable...
Like I said, I probably shouldn't have done...
What's your policy regarding people who don't pay?
There are a few options. After that, I start to threaten them with legal action. You wouldn't believe some of the things people do to avoid paying back their loans. One client went so...
Do you ever employ any more...
Now wait just a minute. I see where this is going. Mr. Fordham, I'm a family man myself. If you're implying that I would stoop to kidnapping someone...
I never said that, Mr. LaFay.
Look, I have a family to consider. I'm not about to go get my hands dirty when there's plenty of legit...
Take a look at this piece of fabric. Does it look...
Sure, it looks like it came from a jacket. In fact, yes, it's the same fabric as the...
Would you mind if I took a look at your jacket?
Sure, not... No tears in mine, huh?
Not a one. You clearly take good care of your clothing.
I don't mean to discourage you, Mr. Hell, even Malcolm has one.
I see. Thank...
You don't suppose... How about that?
It matches the piece of torn fabric perfectly.
So, this means...
It could mean many things. The only thing that's certain is that
Seems like something worth it.
I have some questions for you.
Yes, of course.
Mr. Harris, do you recall the torn piece of fabric I found in the nursery?
Yes, what about it?
As it turns out, one of the jackets in your wardrobe. Would you care to tell?
That can't...
I'm afraid it is.
The truth is, I haven't worn that jacket in weeks.
Are you suggesting someone else took your jacket and wore it when the child was taken?
I don't know. Perhaps so... But that's absurd!
Why indeed, Mr.
You really think he kidnapped his own son, Miles? Seems more like... But he also doesn't strike me as a terribly good parent. We've done our part.
Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right.
Honey, I'm home.
It's good to have you back.
Addie?
What do you need, dear?
You weren't kidding about business picking up. You're averaging what, about...
More like 5.
Doesn't it get tiresome?
Not really. You'd be surprised. I don't know what it is, but You sure you don't...
I'm fine for now, dear. Addie, did you ever work with or meet a musician in...
Roland?
Yes, a piano player.
Oh, of course. Yes, I know him. I'd just as soon never...
That bad.
He's just an arrogant little twerp. Completely full of himself. He really isn't very good. Misses notes like you wouldn't believe. Used to throw me off the few times I sang.
Well, he's a person of interest in my current case.
Last I heard, he was playing a regular gig at the Crimson Cat, but that was a few years ago. If he's not still there...
Thanks, dear.
I'd
forgotten how good you are at écarté.
As I recall, you used...
We should have another match soon.
Yes, we should. As long as you...
I can't believe the nerve of that...
Who, Mrs. Delacroix?
I don't know how you can tolerate it.
If I did that for every one of my...
Maybe so. How are things going?
I'm a bit worried about some rumors I've been hearing.
Oh?
They're saying it won't be... Once that happens...
Automated hair...
Doubtful. More than likely they'll...
I wouldn't worry too much, Addie.
You underestimate my clientele, Miles. They'll be sending their servants to...
Perhaps, but they'll come running back to you.
I certainly...
I'll let you get back. I'll see you later, Addie.
I look forward to your...
Ah, the Crimson Cat. One of my favorite... Which reminds me, I wonder if
Excuse me, are you Roland Devereaux?
Who's asking?
Miles Fordham, private investor.
Sure.
Are you acquainted with a woman named Miriam Harris?
Sure. But then I'm also acquainted with...
Fascinating. Could you tell...
Sure. That woman could talk the ear off a coon.
Oh? She said you did?
That's right, I don't. She talks plenty for always going on about how sick she is. But hey, she's loaded. And she's pretty good in bed, so it's a nice...
Are you aware that Mrs. Harris's son was kidnapped?
What? Kidnapped?
Yes. Do you know anything?
No, not at all. I mean, I knew. Why would anyone take someone else's child voluntarily?
I assume you're not a fan of children?
Let's just put it this way. I would rather have a hot poker shoved up my...
Well, that's quite...
There is no way in hell. If this lady's kid's been stolen, she'll probably... Thanks, friend. You've really opened...
You're a real piece of...
Yeah.
So, I take it you're a musician?
A musician? Am I a musician? Man, ask anyone. I am more.
And this is after...
I don't expect a lame... Your job is exploit...
Oh, it's... But then I expect you've never gone... I think that's quite enough.
It's about...
And so we say to Harris and his cronies, no, we will not stand for this. Too many have died to allow this to continue. Steam tech must be stopped. The time has come to reject steam machines. They take our jobs, they take our families, they take our lives. We won't stand for this injustice any longer.
Pardon me, are you Arthur Devons by any chance?
Yes.
Miles Fordham, private investigator. You recognize this letter, Mr. Devons?
How'd you get that? That wasn't meant for you.
I found it at the home of Mr. Malcolm Harris. He tells me you've been sending quite a...
Me and everyone else would have someone...
Perhaps not. What have you got against the Harris family?
Family? The only one I got a problem with is Clyde Harris. He's just like all those other rich bastards. The man don't care about the dead. I'm just trying to make him rich.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of
Charles Harris?
Clyde Harris's
I didn't even know he had a... I can't believe someone with a grandkid, a family, would want more flying. How many more people have to die before someone real... People will kill their...
Mr. Harris told me you send a bag of chicken bones and dust along with your letters. Why is that?
Chicken bones? Dust? Nah, that's not right.
Are you certain?
Yes.
Right. And I get the feeling this guy...
Why are you out here protesting?
Because what Harris Construction is doing... I lost my wife in the Ligeia crash. And I'm not the only one, neither. Hundreds of people were affected by that. It's like a slap in the face.
What do you hope to accomplish by protesting?
Simple. Not only that, Royal Maverick took care of all the... It just isn't fair. After that, it'll just be a matter of time.
Ah, the innocence of the downtrodden.
You must have loved your wife very much.
Are you joking? I loved her more than there was. She was my whole world, Mr. Ford. It's been nothing but cope. You're married, aren't you, Mr. Fordham? I see you.
I am.
Then take my... Appreciate every moment you have with her.
You know, this fella was actually pretty...
Does this piece of fabric...
Looks like it came from some fancy jacket. I could never afford...
Do you recognize the...
Can't say I do. I wonder how long it will be before the poor soul...
You seem very...
I'll take that as a compliment, Mr.
There's quite a lot of people who are...
Yes, the movement is gay.
I've heard stories about some more...
You mean the Red Hats? But if you think I'm telling you anything else...
Are you a member of the Red Hat?
No. I prefer more peaceful... Now, if you don't mind...
Good day to you, Mr.
You... Clyde Harris has no concern...
Come in!
Good day to you, ma'am. I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. I'm looking into the kidnapping of Charles Harris.
I am. Oh, bless the spirits. I'm so glad someone is...
Demands?
Yes, the Harrises just got the note about a half an hour ago.
I didn't, but thank... I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Tell me about the kidnapping of Charles Harris.
Oh, dear. May the spirits forgive me. I feel so awful. Charlie was my responsibility, and I failed.
Mrs. Davis, that is beside the point. What's important now is finding him and bringing him home. To do that,
Oh, you're right, Miss. I just need... Now,
What time did the...
I know I was in the nursery. I remember feeling... to think. Oh, may the...
Do you happen to take any...
Oh, dear me, no. Those...
You say that as though...
I beg your pardon.
Apology. Can you think of anyone who would have wanted to take...
Well, I'm not one to gossip. I get the impression that Mr. and Mrs. Harris...
Ah, come on, anyone could have picked up on that.
Mr. Harris likes to stay out late and not take his wife. I don't know what he...
Can you think of any reason why some...
Well, now that the Harrises have received... I just hope you find the porch.
I found this piece of torn fabric.
No, it doesn't.
I found this button in the baby...
Why, yes.
Barney.
Charlie's stuffed bear. It's his face.
I didn't find it.
Then whoever took the baby... Oh, at least the poor thing...
Who is Linda?
Mrs. Linda Walker. As I said, she gave me...
Can you tell me anything else?
Oh, she's a lovely girl. Very much...
When was the last time you...
Oh, no, wait.
What is the spec...
It's a club for spiritualists. We meet twice a month to so...
I see.
Though I don't expect you...
Oh, I have a bit more.
You can say that.
Where exactly do these meetings...
At a private
May I have the address?
Why, yes, it's 325...
Perhaps. Do you have Linda Walker's address?
No, I get the feeling she doesn't like... I was the same way after my... But I feel it's... I think there are... I try to stay away from...
How long have you...
Only a few years, unfortunately. So I began work, but I consider taking...
Thank you for your time, Mrs.
Oh, you're...
Pretty distinguished looking gentleman. Handsome. Good fashion sense. Wonder who he is.
I have some questions.
All right.
That's a lovely portrait.
That is my late... He used to attend meetings of... I tried to get him... he was a good...
Thank you for your time, Mrs.
Oh, you're...
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits...
Yes?
This is the Spectre Society, right?
Ah, yes it is. Our membership process is a bit different to most social clubs. We require a sponsor.
Sounds...
Well, you see, we ask that sponsors be people who have passed on into the spirit world. Once you name your sponsor, I will attempt communication beyond the ether. When they answer, you will be judged and considered for membership.
What are you looking for in a sponsor?
A willingness to communicate from beyond the ether. Open-mindedness, a desire for truth. In other words, all the qualities of a member of the Spectre Society. Actually, we've had former members who have passed on act as sponsors before.
I've got a sponsor.
Excellent. What is the name of your sponsor?
Jonathan Davis is my sponsor.
You knew Jonathan? He was such a... Yes, I can feel his presence, and it speaks positively of you.
Please, come in, Mr. I didn't catch your name.
It's Miles Fordham.
And I am Angela Maxwell, the founder of the Spectre Society. Welcome.
May I offer you some refreshment?
You're very kind, but
Well, please let...
Won't you look at this place?
Could I ask you about some things, Miss Mac?
Certain.
I spoke with Henrietta Davis, and she mentioned one of your other members, Linda Walker. Can you tell me anything about her?
Ah, Linda. Poor dear. Of all our members, she is the one I feel for the most.
Why is that?
She's had a trap. Not only has she has... I would... It's all...
Do you see her?
Yes.
What can you tell me about Linda and Henrietta's friendship?
It's so lovely to see them together at the meetings. They're practically inseparable. It's quite sweet. They often leave messages for each other in the guest book. When Linda found out that Henrietta was taking care of an infant, she even gave her a toy bear for the child. I remember Linda lighting... She really loved... But please,
What's this tragic story?
Oh, dear.
Oh, I think you most definitely should.
No, I'm very sorry, Mr. Fordham, but I need...
Do you know Linda Walker?
I'm afraid not, darling.
Do you know anyone?
You could always come back for our next meet.
By then, we'll have completely lost.
What made you decide?
I began my twin sister...
I'm very...
Rachel began... Oh, yes. As I grew older, I realized there were others, and so, once I moved to New...
You suppose she can hear what I'm... Hey, Angela, try a bit less... Nothing. Clearly a fraud.
What can you tell me?
I formed this club too during our meet.
What sort of...
We look into... New Bretagne is teeming. Not only that,
Fascinating.
there are plenty of books on the...
Do you know anything about the kidnapping?
I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about... If you wish, I can commune with...
That won't be necessary. I'm sorry.
Metempsychosis, darling. It refers to the trans...
Is that anything?
Essentially, there's a book on the subject of...
I'd really like to know the story behind Mrs. Walker's past.
I told you, Mr. Fort...
Miss Maxwell, I'm investigating a kidnapping. I need to know as much about her as possible.
Well, Linda was married to a man named Thomas. Thomas revealed himself to be a terribly cruel... One day,
My God.
the police ruled it a murder. Linda has been trying to make it real. Yes?
When you communicate with...
If I wish that...
What about the...
You do remember I'm right.
Well, those spirits...
I prefer...
Oh? But of course. Do you see?
Oh, don't get any...
Thank you for the information.
It was my...
Could I ask you?
Certainly.
I don't hear the voices of all spirits.
Miles, what are you doing?
Ah, you have a spirit guide. Please.
I wouldn't call him a spirit guide.
This is very...
Do you know who this...
Yes, it's my former... He died on our last case together.
What happened?
He was on a roof, being held at... Bill wanted me to shoot. There was a struggle.
Oh my.
Well, he is now. But normally, he's the same. I've told him I'm...
I see. My advice to you, do well to live...
I know. It's...
Yours, if I...
Thank you, Miss Mac.
Well, I could have...
Thank you for the info.
It was my pleasure, darling.
There's quite a few members in this group. There's quite a few members. It's nice of Miss Mac coming from me.
I'll be going now.
May the spirits...
Hello again. Did you hear?
I didn't hear.
Oh, not long ago.
Thank you, Mrs. I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Mrs. Davis, have you ever...
Oh, no.
Then would you care to explain your...
Please, Mr. Fordham, I didn't mean to lie to you. So every now...
I see.
Tonight, please don't tell Mr. and Mrs. Harris, Mr. Fordham. If they found out...
I won't, but I'd very much like...
All I know is that she worked...
Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're...
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Oh, Mr. Fordham. Oh, thank God you're back.
What's going on?
Our butler just brought this in. He found it stuck to the...
Mr. Devons?
Yes?
Do you practice voodoo, Mr. Devons?
What?
The chicken bones and dust you send along with your letters. It's quite a convenient... Come now, Mr. Devons.
All right. She told me I thought...
Well, I...
No.
Mr. Devons.
I've never seen that before.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. I didn't even know...
Yeah. Let him...
Very well. Good day.
You too.
This Arthur Devons Joker is bad news. Not only is he making threats to the... We have enough evidence to pin the crime on him.
The only thing that matters to him is lying...
The election seems to be getting intense earlier than normal this time.
That's for sure. Leroy really wants to be prime minister.
What do you think of him?
I think he's like every other politician, full of lies and false promises. He claims to be a man of the people, but I'll believe it when I see him step into a factory like the rest of us.
That's a good point, actually.
Atwood ain't perfect by any means, but he's at least the devil we know.
They're cutting our wages. The foreman told us all yesterday.
No, that's terrible. Why?
Because they're spending the extra money bringing in steam-powered machines. They say it's only temporary, but a lot of the others are saying they're getting ready to replace us.
So what are you gonna do?
What can I do? I'm lucky enough to have this job. I'm not about to leave it. Just gonna have to find some other way of making ends meet.
Let me at least buy you a drink.
Thanks, but I can't. I'm working a double shift tomorrow. And I need to be at my best.
Can we talk?
Go on.
Can we go over my...
Of course.
I found this torn piece of fabric at the crime scene. It's got an emblem.
It's from Solomon Stitching, a little tailor shop.
Sorry to dredge up a...
I believe it's on the...
Fantastic. I found this button at the crime scene. The child's nanny identified...
Did you find the bear?
No.
Interesting.
Either the kidnap... I spoke with Henry...
A sensible place to start. What did she have to say?
She claims to have been unconscious when the kidnapping took place.
She must be...
I don't believe so.
Interesting.
Have you ever heard...
I think so.
A spiritual...
Don't tell...
Not exactly. Are you familiar?
No.
Apparently...
Fasten.
I'm not exactly...
Some...
That's enough.
Okay.
That's it, I think.
Then you'd better get back to it.
Good day to you, sir. Welcome. Please let me know if I can...
Mr. Solomon?
Yes, sir. How may I be of service? Oh, let me guess. You're looking to replace...
You should listen to the man, Miles. He clearly...
Not today, I'm afraid. Actually, I was wondering...
Questions?
Do you by chance employ a seamstress named Linda Walker?
I do, yes.
Is she here?
No, she has the day off today, but she'll be in tomorrow.
Would it be possible to have...
Begging your pardon, but...
Her son, Alexander, and mine were schoolmates. I just found a book he lent my son, and I wanted to return it. I've been trying to track her down for ages, and only just found out where she worked.
Oh, it was a terrible tragedy what happened. I know how private Miss... Alright, she...
Remember when you couldn't even bring yourself to trick people into thinking their shoelaces were untied? You've come a long...
I found this piece of torn fabric.
Yes.
And here I thought my ability...
Do you have any...
Well, sure.
Is there any...
Oh, I don't...
Is there anything... I'll be taking...
Very good.
It says here that Linda Walker is in the upstairs apartment, and someone named Douglas M.F. Nobody home.
What? Who are you?
Afraid not.
Damn. Oh well.
Do you know Linda Walker?
Of course. She lives upstairs.
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm trying to find Linda, so...
What's your business?
I'm afraid that's private.
Well, she's out right now. You'll have to come...
Have you got any idea when Mrs. Walker will be back?
Not for a few days. She told me she... Ah, that reminds me. She asked me to water her plant. Just need to remember where I put the...
Did you say something about having a spare key to Mrs. Walker's apartment?
Sure. I'm her landlord. I look after the place when she's gone. Got a bit of a green thumb. The trip up is a bit of a pain, though.
Why did you think I was from the steam?
Because I contacted them a few days ago when my boiler... I should have known better. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in here with...
Sorry to...
Some people would call that humming... Miles, what are you doing? You don't know the first thing about steam engine repair.
It can't be that hard to...
If you're serious about getting it fixed, I'd suggest... But if you just want...
Seeing you come home.
Addie?
What do you need, dear?
Addie, you wouldn't happen to have any manuals?
Thinking of changing?
No, there's just
A boiler?
I'm not sure, but it had...
Oh, of course. In fact, the player piano, if that's all that's happened with...
Adelaide
Where is...
Not terribly far, it's at...
Let's go then. Not quite a player piano, but it shouldn't be too tough. Would you like me to walk you through it, or would you prefer I fix it myself?
Please, tell me what I need to do.
All right, let's take a closer look. Right, the first thing you'll want to do is open up the firebox door and light that coal on fire. And it'll be a good idea to open the engine hatch too, so you can keep an eye on it.
Find fuel source.
That was easy enough. What's next?
Now you want to open the flue and close the fire door so the water in the tank starts boiling. Once that happens, steam, assuming the steam valve...
And if it isn't?
Then the pressure will be transferred into the... You want to use the valves to...
And what is the...
If I remember, less than that...
All right.
These pipes are connected.
It won't go any further in that direction.
Find fuel source.
It won't go any further in that direction. It won't go any further. It won't go any further in that.
Nice work, Miles. Maybe if the private investigator thing, boilers are a lot like people. You'd do well to remember that, dear. Anyway, I need to be off for...
Yes?
I fixed the boiler.
What? It's pretty pathetic when some yahoo off the street does a better job than the people paid to do this sort of thing. I owe you.
I'm a private detective, and it's a...
Is that right? Is Mrs...
I'm not entirely sure yet.
I see. I can't just give...
That'll be just fine.
What in the ether?
Cripes, did a tornado come through this place or what?
Looks as though she definitely left in a hurry. I wonder...
I'll be waiting for you in the kitchen.
There's a handwritten note here. Valerian mixed with chemicals.
Seems Mrs. Walker's...
Maybe not so amateur. I'd love to see the look on Mrs. Davis's face if she knew it wasn't. In fact, let's go tell her, so I can see it.
You've gotten fairly missing...
Have I? I thought my apartment was messy. You're actually gonna dig through that mess? I sure hope it's worth. A receipt with yesterday's date. One-way train ticket.
Thought she could get away easy.
That bit of torn wallpaper looks almost... What do you know? She hid a book behind the wallpaper. Well, this is pretty damaging.
I'll say. Now we just need to figure out how...
Oh, we've got you now, Lit. Thought you could be clever and get...
Bill?
Well, you thought wrong. With Fordham and Leger on the case, the only thing you're
Bill?
And the worst part is how sloppy she was. She might as well have left a...
Bill, would you just shut up, for God's sake? Huh? Is everything all right?
Yes, everything's just fine. I just stubbed...
You also be more...
Sorry, Miles. You know how I get when we're close to something.
You always do this. I need to concentrate, and I can't hear myself think with you...
Right, sorry.
Thank you.
But you have to admit, she really would have saved us the...
Bill!
Right. Not another peep.
I hope you were able to find out.
Yes, thank you for...
Hello again.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Mrs. Davis, where did you get the tea you drank on the night of...
From my own... I drink a blend of hibiscus...
Did it taste...
No.
Because I think your tea may have been... I believe Mrs. Walker used her own herbs to drug your tea. Knowing you, she then snuck into the house...
Oh my word.
I know, Mrs. Davis, but don't...
Oh, may this...
Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're...
Well, I'd say we have everything we need to prove it was Linda who drugged Mrs. Davis, and we know where she's going, too.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Heard the Redites are planning a big attack on a bunch of factories.
Those idiots. I wish they'd stop with their nonsense.
You don't support them? I'm surprised, especially considering a machine took half your arm.
I don't believe in solving problems with violence. This city's got some real problems. When people pay more for an airship ticket than most workers earn in a year, something stinks. But the way to deal with that ain't by blowing up steam tech, that I can tell you.
I don't know how you do it. If I was you, I'd never get near any steam tech again, and wouldn't care a fig if it got blowed up.
Well, then it's a good thing you ain't me, isn't it?
Got your eye on any ladies?
Not really. Been too busy lately. I can't afford to be taking someone out right now. How about you?
Pretty much the same.
You always try your luck with that one over there.
Already did. Wouldn't give me the time of day.
Too bad.
Can we talk?
Go on,
I'm ready to wrap this...
Okay.
It was Linda Walker,
Who is she?
a seamstress who befriended the Harris... She took the child because she believes he's the reincarnation of her deceased son, whom she acts...
My God.
You'll find a journal explaining her motive at her apartment.
But what about the broken window in the...
All part of a false crime scene she set up to draw our attention.
Excellent work, Miles. Did you manage to...
Yes, I found a receipt for a one-way train...
Fantastic. We can send a telegram to the train station. You've done extremely well, Fordham. Snelling could...
You flatter.
Then I'd better stop before your head gets... All right, Miles. I'll go through the proper... And, of course, I'll dip into the department's Good Samaritan. For now, go home to your wife.
Welcome to Lorraine. An awfully cute baby you got there.
Oh, thank you, sir. This is my son, Alexander.
Alexander. That's a good name. Strong name.
Yes, thank you. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in a bit of a...
Of course.
Thank you,
I didn't. It was luck. But now, seeing as I know your name, Linda Walker, you are under arrest for the kidnapping of Charles Harris. Surrender the child and come with me.
No, you've got it all wrong. This is my son. This is my Alexander.
Ma'am, please don't make this difficult.
Addie, are you home?
Still at her appointment, it would seem. You know, Miles, I have to say, I'm proud of you.
Why's that?
It's because you actually listened.
So does this mean you'll keep quiet until morning?
I said I was proud of you. I didn't say you were getting a reprieve.
Then I need to figure out how I'm going to sleep through the night without the soporific.
You worry about that too much, Miles.
You don't ever seem to.
That's because I slept quite enough.
In any case, I need to clear my head.
The angel?
Since you died.
But, it would be nice to see old Pat. Then it's settled.
I have to say, it's been a real pleasure having you back, Miles. I was worried about you.
I appreciate your concern, Patrick. The past few months have been a bit rough, but it's good to be back in familiar territory.
Miles...
what is it?
Well, it may be none of my...
Enough with the preamble.
I know you quit the force, but why are you still working as a private investigator?
It's all I know. My grandfather was a cop. My father, that's just...
Oh, I hear ya, but I broke the streak. Now then.
Wait a minute. Patrick, do you hear?
No, Miles.
Neither. Another gin.
Coming around.
I must have taken a wrong turn back there.
Excuse me, sir. Could you spare a shilling?
Apologies, but I'm all out of coins. Perhaps next time.
Spend them all at the pub, didn't you? I should have guessed.
I beg your pardon?
Just look at yourself. I may be a beggar, but even...
Your voice.
Yes, that's right. I'm your biggest failure.
What are you talking about?
Come now, Miles, you're not completely... You think finding and catching me is going...
Yes, I do. I owe it to Bill, and that's enough to make it worth...
That's very touching. Let's say you do find me, and this grand chase finally ends. What do? You still have a dead partner, no real job. Your wife, even if you solve 100 cases...
What's your point?
I'm all you've got, Miles. So just admit it. You don't... Bad dreams?
You could... my head. How many drinks did I have last night?
You're asking the wrong person. I was out after the...
It seems Miss Maxwell was...
Yeah, well, let's not...